So now we are going to start presenting awards. Today we'll be celebrating 4 mid-career awards and our Lifetime Achievement Award. Tomorrow we will have 4 more mid-career awards and awards for our poster competition. So I would like to introduce US C3E Ambassador Susan Brennan, who is COO of Bloom Energy. She's a fuel cell expert, and she's going to kick off our series of awards. Please join us, Susan.
Good morning. I'm Susan Brennan, and I'm a C3E ambassador. I have the distinct pleasure this morning of introducing Elizabeth Kaiga. Elizabeth is the Key Accounts Director for Renewable Energy for DNV GL. And Elizabeth is the 2020 winner of the Business Leaders Award. I was able to speak with Elizabeth before this ceremony, and I was really excited to get to know her a little bit better. One of the things I found most interesting and fascinating about Elizabeth is she's an American of Kenyan descent who grew up in India, and she really understands the nations when energy is not available. Elizabeth has personal knowledge of rural communities, multicultural communities, and an inclusive workplace. In addition to her day job, Elizabeth also spends time with RISE, which is a very important community in the renewable energy field, and mentors many women. Please join me in welcoming Elizabeth Kaiga, winner of the 2020 Business Leaders Award. Congratulations, Elizabeth.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Susan. Thank you, C3E, US Department of Energy, Stanford, MIT, and Texas A&M. This recognition is both humbling and exciting, not only because I'm joining a phenomenal group of women, but because this award brings together 2 issues that I care about: access to sustainable energy and building a more inclusive future. Over the years, I have received recognition for industry accomplishments, as well as diversity and inclusion initiatives, but never within the same award. So thank you again for bringing those 2 passions together with this recognition. In preparing my remarks, I reflected on experiences that have shaped my perspective. Experiences such as growing up in Kenya and India and spending time in remote communities in those parts of the world, communities where access to energy is central to issues like education, security, and economic development. I attended an international school in India called Woodstock, located at the foothills of the Himalayas mountain. I am thrilled that my favorite high school teacher, Kathy Hoffman, is in attendance today. My high school experience opened my eyes to appreciating small luxuries like 5-minute hot showers, because that second boiler did not last very long. And of course, delicious Tibetan food. It also enriched my life as a result of living in a multicultural and international community. This foundation led me to pursue opportunities that would propel me towards the energy industry and enhance my appreciation of building a more inclusive community. Opportunities like an internship at the United Nations Environmental Program headquarters in Nairobi, Kenya, where I focused on women and the environment. And I have not looked back. I have been fortunate to work within multiple energy sectors and gained exposure to different parts of the world, including the Middle East and Europe. And I have spent the last 10 years working in clean energy. Through it all, I carry that early appreciation of the richness of our differences and the value of a multicultural community. I am a fearless advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion. For me, the clean energy transition and a more inclusive future are intertwined. In order to fully realize the clean energy transition, we must embrace diversity of talent and lived experience. A more inclusive clean energy sector also means that we must ensure equitable access for underserved and underrepresented communities. In support of a more inclusive future, I also serve on the board of RISE, Women of Renewable Industries and Sustainable Energy. And here comes the plug. For those that are not engaged with RISE, consider supporting us to promote the education, professional development, and advancement of women in clean energy. In supporting women, let us acknowledge that not all women are having the same experience. 2020 has been a challenging year in more ways than one, and has revealed inequities that impact women disproportionately, particularly women of color. In order to truly uplift all women, mentorship, empowerment, and education should be tailored to our lived experience. This award also comes with a monetary gift, and it is only fitting that my gift benefit two organizations that support women in clean energy, RISE and Solar Sister. Solar Sister is an organization whose founder and CEO, Catherine Lucy, is a past recipient of the C3E Award. Solar Sister invests in off-grid communities in Africa by training women to deliver clean energy directly to homes in remote African communities. Thank you again to C3E for the award. Thank you to my family who are watching from different corners of the world, Greece, Canada, Kenya, and the United States. Thank you to those that supported my nomination, including Karen Conover, a C3E ambassador, colleague, and great go-to for all kinds of advice. Hannah Badre at Shell, a true believer, supporter, and fiercely in my corner. And Kristen Graff at RISE, a true champion, also prior recipient of the C3E Award and go-to for challenging discussions on diversity and inclusion. Thank you to my colleagues and leadership team at DNV GL for celebrating this moment with me. I am proud to be part of an organization that is accelerating the clean energy transition globally and living up to our values, to care, to dare, and to share. Thank you all.
Elizabeth, thank you so much for those incredibly inspiring words. I think between our first speaker, Kate, and Elizabeth, we all are reminded of the importance of that intersection between clean energy and equity and inclusion. So my name is Abby Hopper. I am the president and the CEO of SEIA, the Solar Energy Industries Association, and it is my great honor to be here today. I'm a C3 ambassador. I have the pleasure to introduce Britta van Oesen. Britta is a managing director of CohnReznick Capital, and she is the recipient of the US C3E Awards in Law and Finance. Britta's portfolio exemplifies her work in creating a strong foundation for and promoting clean energy in the business environment. Britta brings over 10 years of experience in investment banking, tax equity, corporate strategy, and development in wind, solar, and energy storage, as well as the broader environmental sector. During her tenure with CohnReznick Capital, Britta has focused primarily on transaction management, contributing to more than 25 billion of clean energy transactions, demonstrably moving the needle towards a more sustainable future. On a more personal note, Britta serves as the co-chair of my organization's women empowerment work and an advisor to the San Francisco chapter of RISE, which you've just heard about. And so Britta, congratulations on your award, and I will hand it over to you.
Thank you, Abby, for the introduction and for all the work that SEIA does in our space. Also, thank you to C3E, the ambassadors and sponsors, and thank you to my colleagues at CohnReznick Capital who nominated me for this award. Congratulations to the other winners. It's an incredible honor to be a part of this distinguished group. Gives me optimism to see these women doing such amazing things. It gives me a lot of hope. 2020 has been a year where hope has been necessary and at times fleeting. On top of COVID, we have record-setting heat waves, wildfires, floods, and more hurricanes than letters in the alphabet. We have 4 times more women than men dropping out of the workforce due to the COVID pandemic, ongoing pay disparity, and still only 1/4 of Fortune 500 board seats are held by women. Less than 10% are run by women CEOs. It's a lot to process, and a lot of days it's easy to feel frustrated or hopeless. But today is not one of those days. Looking around this event, I see women who are making the world a better place. Women who are change makers leading their fields. And frankly, with this group in charge, how could we not have hope? I've devoted my career to battling climate change, using financial levers to promote renewable energy, and I'm very proud of my contributions. The deals I'm doing today versus 10 years ago show how far we have come. Renewable energy has hit the mainstream. We have fundamentally and permanently altered the energy landscape for future generations. Corporate procurement is up by 50% and is expected to be responsible for 50 gigawatts of new build by 2030. We also continue to see women breaking glass ceilings in business and in government, which is so important as women are a critical force to implement this clean energy transition. There is not a long list of women mentors in my field. In fact, I believe I am one of a few senior women in renewable energy finance. It was even noted in my discussions with C3E that almost every year, the references for the award winner in the finance category are men. It's a sign of the work still to be done, but I sincerely hope to be a reference for a future award winner someday. With all due respect and sincere thank yous to my own references, we need to break this tradition. When we look at the long road ahead, both for women's equality and for climate change, there can be a tendency to feel short on hope, especially after a difficult year such as this. But I find there are reasons to hope all around us. Despite the shortage of women mentors, I have had strong women influences in my life. For example, I'm the youngest of 4 sisters. My sisters and I were raised to give back, contribute to our communities, and they have shown me by example the type of woman I want to be. When I look at them, I feel hope. I have 2 daughters, Christina and Maggie, and my husband Tim and I are committed to raising them to be fierce, adventurous, loving, and kind. When I look to them, I feel hope. I am filled with hope when I see organizations like CohnReznick Capital lean in and put their money where their mouth is on seeking out diversity in our talent pools and recruiting. I am filled with hope when I see corporations and financial institutions making commitments to fight climate change. The triple bottom line is real and it is here to stay. Beyond all of this, I am filled with hope when I see the next generation of passionate women entering this space in record numbers. And I want you to know that we are here for you. We will be the mentors and champions to welcome you and facilitate this change and fight for a better world. So I leave you with hope. Seek it out around you. Look around this event. The women present here today are making a difference, and I am filled with hope for our future. I want to thank C3E and all of the folks in attendance for their passion and commitment to our space. And thank you again for the recognition. It is an honor.
Hello, I am Ambassador Bobi Kates-Garnick, and I have the privilege and honor of introducing the Lifetime Achievement Award. No, I was not asked to do this because my name is Bobi Garnick, very close to our honoree, Bobi Garrett, but that is a fun and unplanned symmetry. With this award, we are celebrating a continuum of accomplished women, starting with Mildred Dresselhaus through last year's award winner, Denise Gray, Maxine Savitz, who was my personal inspiration, Susan Tierney, Mary Nichols, Sarah Kurtz, Senator Lisa Murkowski, Senator Maria Cantwell, and Betsy Moeller have all received this award. They are a pantheon of women whose achievements are deeper than simply their successes in the clean energy field. Our lifetime achievers have encouraged, mentored, and supported us, where for many years we have often been the only women in the room where it happens, the only woman at the table, the only woman on a panel, the only women giving a talk. They know what it is like to make difficult career choices, to be clear and decisive, to lead at a time when their authority may have been questioned. Through difficult times and during periods of change, they have served as our colleagues, our advisors, and our friends. As C3E ambassadors, we are a chain linked together in our commitment to clean energy, to excellence in our work, to achievement in our fields, and as important, to our sisterhood. We honor those with a lifetime of achievement, like Bobi Garrett, and today also recognize those who are in the midst of their careers, our other awardees, who work in important and technical fields that will bring us to a clear and equitable energy future. So it is my great honor and pleasure to introduce Sheila Hayter of NREL, who was so honored when Bobi asked her to introduce her today. It is an opportunity for Sheila to tell us a little bit more about Bobi, the nature of Bobi's personal support to her, and to tell us a little bit more about Bobi's leadership in one of our country's preeminent national labs. So now I turn to Sheila Hayter to introduce Bobi Garrett.
Everybody, thank you, Bobi, for introducing the Lifetime Achievement Award and for helping all of us understand and fully appreciate why this is such a special award. I am humbled and honored to have the opportunity to introduce this year's Lifetime Achievement Award recipient, Bobi Garrett, who I believe epitomizes what this award is intended to celebrate. When Bobi first asked me to introduce her, the first thing I asked her was, why me? I could not fathom why she picked me when there are so many people who Bobi has inspired in some way. Bobi's response was, I want someone I have mentored to introduce me. This way, you can talk about your decisions to pursue leadership roles and what it has meant for your career. Those of you who know Bobi know she is quick to give others the opportunity to be recognized. Her response to her question made me smile because instead of holding the limelight for herself, she was offering me another opportunity to shine. Well, Bobi, even though I took to heart every bit of advice you have ever given me, I cannot follow your most recent guidance today. This is your day. I intend to spend the rest of this introduction celebrating you and shining the limelight on you. Let me tell you a little bit about Bobi. Bobi is driven to explore new territories while contributing to the advancements of clean energy solutions. And Bobi is especially committed to helping others overcome challenges to find opportunities as they pursue their own passions. Bobi's desire to explore is evident through her personal history. As a young child, she created the masterpieces of her imagination using her favorite toy, a hammer, and the scraps from her family's long-running home renovation project in Missoula, Montana. Later, the head of the Montana State University Chemical Engineering Department wooed her to Bozeman with a scholarship, where she became one of just 7 women in a graduating class of 30 Chem E students. Bobi's career started at the Hanford site in Richland, Washington, where there were only 2 other women engineers within an organization of 12,000 people. Shortly after launching her career, Bobi transitioned to what is now known as the Pacific Northwest National Laboratory. At PNNL, she quickly began working with a team exploring renewable energy opportunities. In addition to meeting her husband, Tony, at PNNL, Bobi also completed her MBA just moments before her first child was born. She worked as an apprentice electrician and bookkeeper to support Tony's startup business in her spare time, and she held a succession of leadership roles at the lab. In 1998, Bobi joined the executive leadership team at the National Renewable Energy Laboratory and spent the next 21 years as a highly respected NREL leader. The lack of women role models and the absence of a roadmap for young women in engineering early in her career never deterred Bobi's yearning to take on new challenges that defined her rich, successful, and impactful career. Bobi thrives on helping others navigate the challenges of their careers, and she is especially committed to helping women in energy fields realize their potential. I first met Bobi shortly after she arrived at NREL when I was a young research engineer looking for new professional opportunities. Because I wanted to grow up to be just like this amazing woman, I gathered my courage and asked for an appointment with Bobi. And then I experienced for the first time what an incredible mentor Bobi is. She gave me her full attention during that meeting and asked thoughtful, relevant questions. I felt validated and heard. I continued to seek Bobi's guidance and mentorship as my career progressed, and she consistently made me feel like a valued member of our organization. She helped build my confidence to pursue new opportunities and explore new territories. Bobi put herself forward to be a role model. I now know Bobi was giving me the guidance and support not available to her early in her career. She realized how much this type of mentorship helps others advance in their careers, and she generously gave me her time and attention. As I stated early in my comments, I am not alone in benefiting from Bobi's commitment to help others grow. I expect many of us will never feel that a simple thank you is enough to express our gratitude to her. Instead, the best we can do is to live by Bobi's example and be mentors and role models as Bobi has been for us. So Bobi, on behalf of everyone you have inspired to explore new territories and you have mentored to have the courage to do so, I want to thank you, to promise I will follow your example, to congratulate you for being the C3E 2020 Lifetime Achievement Award winner, and to wish you a very happy birthday.
Bobi and Sheila, thank you for those very kind introductions. This award means a great deal to me. To be included among the ranks of the women who received this award ahead of me is a tremendous honor. To be selected by the C3E ambassadors, each of whom is an individual who's highly accomplished and has a great impact on clean energy, is also truly an honor. I'd like to thank Ellen Morris for submitting the nomination. I did ask Sheila to introduce me for a number of reasons. Mostly, I wanted all of you to meet Sheila. She's an amazing leader at NREL. She showed tremendous leadership when she was the president of ASHRAE. And if I was just starting my career, I would hope that she would agree to be my mentor. My path to clean energy was not a straight line, but I feel like the experiences I had before I had the luxury of being able to focus solely on clean energy gave me a better perspective to really appreciate the promise for the future that these energy technologies bring. If I summed up in an elevator speech what I think my impact has been, it's been on institution building at the National Renewable Energy Laboratory so that others could be successful and have a greater impact than I could on my own. I started my career at a time when government funding for renewable energy research was just starting to increase as a result of the policies that were put in place following the oil embargo of the early 1970s. While working at the Hanford site, I was starting to read journal articles about renewable energy, and I attended a conference in Portland. That conference lit a pilot light on what was to become my career passion. I was offered a job 2 years later by Battelle at what is now the Pacific Northwest National Laboratory. And I took that job because of the Battelle mission to conduct science for the betterment of society. That mission sustained me for over 40 years in 2 different national laboratories. While at PNNL, as Sheila mentioned, I earned my MBA through the University of Washington. And I also grew through experiences around 3 different career paths: individual research contributor, project manager, and line manager. And I had the opportunity to work across a number of fields of research, including environmental cleanup, national security, medical technology, and energy. And it was always energy that I came back to when I had the opportunity. In 1998, when I was given the opportunity to join the executive team at the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, I jumped at that chance. That change brought me the opportunity to truly focus on what I cared the most about. If you don't know NREL, it's one of DOE's 17 national laboratories. It's unique in its laser focus on advancing energy efficiency and renewable energy. Its portfolio spans basic science, which lays the foundation for future innovation, applied energy research to create the next generations of technologies, and systems engineering and analysis to develop tools and knowledge that enable effective integration of advanced energy technologies into complex systems such as vehicles, buildings, and power grids. When I arrived at NREL, the promise of renewable energy technologies was off on a distant horizon. Energy wasn't even a consistent part of the national dialogue. It would crop up if there was an oil price spike or an event such as a major power outage, but then attention would quickly get diverted to some other priority. At that time, NREL was a small laboratory. It had about 900 staff members and a budget of less than $200 million a year. Its pioneering research staff were working on the first generations of renewable energy technologies and biomass, solar, and wind, and working with what was really a fragile renewable energy industry at the time. During my 20+ years at NREL, I worked with 3 different laboratory directors to elevate NREL's impact and its institutional stature. Today, NREL is a relevant and impactful institution, and I'm proud to have been a part of its further development. It now has an annual budget that's approaching $500 million and a staff of over 2,700 talented individuals. It continues to deliver excellence to its primary customer, the Department of Energy, and it delivers its knowledge and know-how out through more than 900 partnerships on an annual basis. It hosts hundreds of student interns and postdocs each year, contributing to the talent pipeline that's feeding the broader clean energy community. Every success that I had in my career was a team success. I particularly enjoyed the startup phase of new initiatives, where I worked with teams to set a shared vision, to identify the leader, and then to step back and provide the resources and the support they needed to be successful. I'm particularly proud of having elevated energy analysis at NREL and its systems integration capabilities. I worked with the team to develop the concept for and launch the Joint Institute for Strategic Energy Analysis with partners MIT and Stanford and the 3 Colorado research universities. NREL's analysis, along with those conducted with its partners through the Joint Institute, have laid a credible and objective foundation of knowledge, information, and tools that are informing global decision makers, and they have dispelled a number of myths that sit around these advanced technologies. I also championed the NREL's Women's Network. My only regret is I didn't think to do it earlier. I'm so tremendously proud of the NREL women who have developed programs under that network that make it a truly beneficial resource to all employees. One of my most important resources throughout my career were the values instilled in me by my parents. 2 of these values were to work hard and always leave things better than you found them. The experiences I had also gave me a toolkit that I think was helpful to me throughout my career, starting with a set of values that I tried to operate to, which included integrity and objectivity, complete transparency, valuing diversity and teamwork, and having the managerial courage to address problems head on when they occurred. I grew into a managerial style through my work experiences that best suited me. And that was as a coach and mentor, not a dictator. And I came to see that my most important role was to develop staff, supporting their success by connecting them with opportunities, being their champion, and removing barriers when they needed to be removed. The other important resources were my work family and my home family. My work family, the NREL staff, are creative, resilient, and dedicated individuals, fondly referred to as NRELians. They are passionate about the mission and wholly dedicated to changing the world. They are a family that cares deeply about each other and about the planet with equal measure. My home family, my husband of 40 years, Tony, my 3 adult children, Zach, Logan, and Whitney, their spouses, and my 2 granddaughters are my inspiration and my foundation. Their future depends on us creating a clean energy future. Energy is the enabler of all human endeavor. The roles that each of you play in creating that future for all of us cannot be overstated. We've come a long way, and in my career, I've had the pleasure of being able to see if energy efficiency and renewable energy move from the sidelines and into the mainstream. But we all know that there's much more that needs to be done. Sometimes progress can seem slow and it can be discouraging. About 10 years ago, NREL convened a forum at the laboratory of decision makers that had a role in the power sector. The dialogue focused on what it would take to transform that sector. A couple hours into the dialogue, a sense of frustration grew, and individuals began to lament that there was a lack of leadership in setting stable policies that would allow forward action. And I can recall the words of one of my mentors and a former C3E recipient, Sue Tierney, and they were magic on that day, and they've stayed with me since. What Sue said is, wait a minute, we are the leaders that we're waiting for. In speaking those words, Sue underscored that as a community, we can't sit back and wait for others to act. Leadership is in each of our hands. The sum of the individual contributions across the diverse roles that all of you play is the force multiplier that will contribute to advancing clean energy and ultimately secure our future. I thank all of you for the contributions that you've made to date and those that you will make in the future. In wrapping up, I would like to thank DOE for its continued commitment to C3E, and thank you to MIT, Stanford, and Texas A&M for continuing to deliver an excellent program. It's truly an honor to have served as a C3E ambassador, and this recognition today is a tremendous honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bobi. That was really wonderful to hear, and you are most deserving. Congratulations on joining our illustrious group of Lifetime Achievement Awardees. And thank you for everything you've done, Bobi. And now I am going to introduce our next US C3E ambassador, and we're going to be giving 2 more mid-career awards before we take a break. And this ambassador is one of our 2 male ambassadors. He's Dr. Brian Wilson, Executive Director of the Energy Institute and Professor of Mechanical Engineering at Colorado State University. So please welcome Brian. Thank you.
Thank you, Martha. So it's my pleasure today to introduce the recipient of C3E's 2020 International Achievement Award. This award recognizes individuals who have developed and or deployed clean energy products and services that increase access, promote efficiency, and expand clean energy around the world. A significance of my own career has been energy access in developing nations, so I am honored to be able to introduce our international awardee, Maria Hilda Rivera. Maria relayed to me that she has always been interested in the potential of energy to improve the human condition for the world's most vulnerable citizens. She grew up in Puerto Rico, where she experienced firsthand the challenges of growing up on a farm that did not have access to reliable electricity. To follow her dream of impact, she studied engineering at Rutgers University, then pursued graduate studies at UC Davis, where she received master's degrees in both development economics and in engineering. She then launched into a highly impactful career working for NGOs, the private sector, and international agencies. Over the 12 years, launched two highly impactful international energy initiatives, Lighting Africa at the World Bank and Power Africa at the US for International Development. Both programs helping to bring access to light and energy to families in sub-Saharan Africa. Maria's visionary work, bringing reliable energy to the poorest segments of society, make her an outstanding choice to receive the C3E International Award. Maria, please accept.
Thank you, Ryan, for the introduction. Thank you to C3E and the teams at DOE, MIT, Stanford, and Texas A&M. Congratulations to all the other award recipients for this year and their wonderful work in clean energy. Clean energy is opportunities. Growing up as a kid in Puerto Rico, we had access to electricity until a storm hit. As a kid, it was wonderful. You didn't have to go to school and got extra time with your family. But as you grew older, you came to realize that it also meant you lost opportunity to go to work and generate an income. I am extremely fortunate to have grown up in the place where I did, full of natural resources. There was always green, lush lands. It was always windy and sunny, and you had the ocean down the road. All these natural resources, which is in many countries, we didn't know how to use or what in order to make them create opportunities through clean energy. That has changed globally, and I think a lot more can happen and faster. When I first came across clean energy, I thought it was the most amazing thing, bringing all those resources together, making use of them. It was an engineering class from Dave Mears, who spoke about his work in rural Asia and the impact it made. It was amazing. All this technology, business and finance innovation, bringing new skills into the marketplace. All these different disciplines. It was amazing. And I was in love. I cannot imagine why anyone would ever want to work in something other than clean energy. I'm thrilled that C3 recognizes the need for all these different disciplines to come together in order to build and grow electricity markets. These markets are constantly evolving. It's not only about a traditional grid. You can have a mini grid, a portable system. You can have batteries delivered to your home. All these different ways of delivering services that can meet the different needs of end users. I feel privileged for the opportunity to have worked with a team at the World Bank's Lighting Africa and the US government's Power Africa. Teams of amazing, hardworking, committed individuals make all the difference. It can be very inspiring. To my colleague, Denise Mortimer, for nominating me, for pushing me to accept my good that I've done good work, to be proud of it, and to get recognition, to own it. It's so hard, and especially for women. I want to thank my parents, who always taught us that there's no career we can't pursue so long as it's rewarding and we're hardworking. They never spoke about the challenges that I would face as a woman, but not because they belittled the issue, but because they didn't think there was any challenge that their children couldn't overcome. My husband, Chris, my biggest cheerleader and a huge supporter of women's empowerment. He was always my inspiration and kept rooting me on. I imagine that as I record this speech and as it plays out, he's doing a little dance in heaven. To our children, Stella and Mateo, who think I have one of the most important jobs in the world in bringing electricity to people. May they always remember the importance of female empowerment. Now look at all those people that have come together for this event. We have all worked together to build clean energy markets, and in a relatively short amount of time. Clean energy markets are still relatively new. So now imagine all the opportunities that we all will continue to create together to keep pushing to change the world and create new opportunities, one clean energy connection or one energy project at a time. Thank you.
Thank you to C3E for hosting such an exciting and extremely well-organized event under the circumstances, and for asking me to present the Entrepreneurship Award this year. My name is Natalie Duval-Quatil, and this is my first year as a C3E ambassador, which has been a wonderful experience, except for the fact that I haven't been able to meet all my other peer ambassadors in person. I'm a professor at Purdue University in the Department of Technology, Leadership, and Innovation, where I also direct the cross-campus entrepreneurship education programs. As part of that work, I've spent many hours over the past 15 years developing initiatives designed to get more women involved in entrepreneurship education, as well as technology commercialization. So needless to say, I'm thrilled to present this award. The Entrepreneurship Award recognizes entrepreneurs who have developed and demonstrated innovative clean energy technologies or business models that have the potential to drive market transformation toward clean energy. This year, the winner is Kathy Hannon, the president and co-founder of Dandelion Energy. Dandelion Energy is a company offering geothermal heating and cooling systems to homeowners, starting in the northeast of the United States, but expecting to expand nationally. The company is committed to making renewable technologies more accessible to homeowners, and geothermal heat pumps represent a substantial opportunity to reduce homeowners' costs and emissions. In the few years that the company has been in operation, it has become the largest residential geothermal heat pump installer in the US with over $10 million in annual revenue, and it continues to grow. Kathy is responsible for securing partnerships with utility companies to incentivize geothermal adoption, and she has been key in raising $35 million of venture capital funding from several entities. The company has been featured in the New York Times, Green Tech Media, Fast Company, and CNBC, among others. Kathy received her undergraduate and graduate degrees from Stanford University in civil engineering and computer science. Prior to this venture, she was product manager at Google X, where she led 3 clean energy projects, one of which was spun out and became Dandelion Energy. Kathy is described as a truth-seeking, data-driven problem solver whose curiosity is both infectious and exciting. Although Kathy is still fairly early in her career, at every step she has mentored and championed women in her companies. She champions not only her ideas, but those of others by helping them find the support and resources they need to bring their innovations to life. It is on that note that I introduce the winner of the 2020 C3E Entrepreneurship Award to Kathy Hannon.
Thank you so much for that introduction. It's such an honor to be here. And I think what I'll say is reflected in what I've heard so far, but I became interested in energy for reasons that seem quite common, just a love for science and for the natural world. But the challenge for me, especially in the beginning of my career, was, I expect also very common, to figure out what role I could play that would be meaningful, especially given the size of the problems that confront us. So when I graduated, I tried and I failed to get a job in energy. So I took a job at Google to get some work experience. And over the years there, I navigated to X, which is Alphabet's Moonshot Factory. And at that time, I had an entry-level job in marketing. But what I really wanted was to figure out how I could get X to pursue a project in energy and be part of that. And just as a side note, my friends would always make fun of me because at that time, X was a totally stealth division of Alphabet. So they joked that my job as marketing for a stealth organization was the easiest job in the world. But I saw my opening to really pursue energy when a leader at X expressed interest in some renewable fuels research he had read. And I told him I wanted to help push that forward and do what I could to actually get X as an organization involved with that research. And first he suggested he needed some help managing his schedule because it was quite complicated and he didn't have an admin. But I told him I wasn't interested in that. But if he had a small budget to allocate, I thought I could get something off the ground with that project. And miraculously, he agreed to this. And that was a really pivotal moment for me in my career. The project ended up being quite successful, but what was a lot more difficult than the project itself was the work I had to do internally to be comfortable with my new role as a leader. The other project leaders at X were men, and most of them were much older than me. And most of them had PhDs or had been successful entrepreneurs, and I had done none of those things. And it took me a while, but over time I came to accept that that wasn't important. And what was important was the work and the results. And so, that we took that project to its conclusion. And then the next project I led at X would go on to, I would spin it out as Dandelion, the home geothermal startup that I lead today. And to date, we have converted hundreds of homes and made significant progress in getting geothermal heat pumps down the cost curve so that they can become a mainstream option for home heating and start to electrify that sector, which is largely fossil dominated today. Starting Dandelion is by far the hardest thing I've ever done. And at the time when I started it in 2017, I really didn't know anything about starting, growing, or managing a company. And I had a good friend from college who was a few years ahead of me on his startup journey, who was important at that time. He really coached me on my pitch deck. He introduced me to many of my investors who had become my early investors. But I would say more than anything, he fully believed in me to a level that didn't seem justified to me at the time, but it gave me so much strength, sort of how completely he believed that I would be successful. And this award, it's very meaningful to me. And I think that this community, it's like I see it, I'm excited to join it and play that role for other women, where so much of what's helped me is first, like being extended opportunities, even though I didn't look anything like the person who had perhaps received that type of opportunity in the past. And second, having people that believed that I would be successful before I had really shown that I would be necessarily. And I think this community really, I appreciate how in recognizing mid-career women, we're passing that forward and really showcasing both giving women the opportunity for a larger platform to express our visions for how renewable energy will play out into the future, and then expressing that support that the work that we're doing is meaningful and that this community believes in it. So I'm excited to join this community and be that voice of support and belief for all the women to follow. Thank you so much.
Well, congratulations, Kathy. You've got an incredible resume, and I'm sure you're going to go on to do great things. We're having a little problem here. Anyway, so we are going to move on towards a break, but first I want to mention that after this break, we'll be having two exciting panels. The first will provide insights into how we're going to move faster and smarter. That's the theme of the conference amidst the challenges that we face, and we've got some wonderful people there. And the second, which will immediately follow, will look at the technology research and development landscape and how we're going to scale and integrate the technologies we need to get to this low carbon future. So I want to encourage everybody until 2 o'clock, there's an opportunity to visit the poster gallery, and it's easy to get there. You go to the c3eawards.org/2020 page, and you'll see there you go. There's the details. You'll see a button there. And then, as we mentioned earlier, we'll have a reception where people can meet the presenters and talk with them more about their work. So thank you so much, and we will see you back here at 2 o'clock.